Hey, what's up, garden friends? Jeff here, Tropical Plant Party. How's everybody doing? We're good. I'm great. Whoa, camera strap, move. I'm finally getting around to planting up some succulents. I mean, I planted up a lot of succulents this year, but I'll explain in a second. So I have some leftover sempervivums here. I bought a ton of them in the springtime, used up most of them. This is what's left, and you know, after the intense heat and everything, they're looking a little bit sad. I think they'd look a lot better if I go ahead and get them like potted up into something that's more fitting for their needs. What I'm referring to is mostly about soil moisture. And here I have probably, I'd say, like a 60-40 mix of gritty gravel and then soil. I'm gonna blend that together and just kind of start popping these guys in. I want a nice gritty potting soil, potting mix for succulents and cacti. These are all hardy where I live, so I want to make sure that it drains really, really well. Yeah, that's pretty good mix there. I'm gonna go ahead and start getting this built up and filled in there, and I'll get planting. Gone ahead and made myself a little makeshift stand to lift this up a little bit. I went ahead and filled this all the way to the top, and that's because a lot of these sempervivums that I'm putting in here, well, they probably don't have a lot as far as roots going on, so really this is going to be a lot of like cuttings in here. Yeah, you see that? There's not a ton going on, so and actually I may actually go ahead and pop some of these off so I can spread them around a little bit. That way it'll be more even when they start to grow. Easy to snap these off. You just kind of get in there and pop it. Sometimes go in and remove lower bits of dead leaves and whatnot to avoid rot and pop them in. The variety that I've just put in here is called Cherry Berry. They're normally like bright red, but not right now. They haven't been getting enough sun because it was hot and I moved them to the shade and then it was too much shade. It's a whole long story. Basically just one of those things where it's like, hey, you know, stuff happens. I'm gonna be filling this in with a bunch of little guys in here. I have a few that are a different variety. These are the Pacific Blue. They'll blow up a little bit more when they get into the sunlight. So I want to make sure I kind of have those staggered around evenly. So here's a good example of one that needs to be cleaned up. It's got all kinds of junky stuff in there that I need to pull out. Is this in focus? I don't know. I can't see my monitor. There we go, and it has some roots in it, so should take off in here just fine. I do not recall the name of this variety, so just plucking them in here every so often. Oh, that's not gonna work. Okay, and in the center of this planter, which in hindsight I should have done first, I have this cactus here. This is an Echinocereus reckenbeckii, desert candle species, Cassiopeitosis. This is a hardy cactus that I thought died last winter, so I just had it kind of sitting beneath my little storage area, and then I went over there a few days ago. I was like, oh, that's very much alive, and the poor thing needs sunlight. That's why this is shaped like that, because it wasn't getting enough light, because I thought it was dead. It was sitting in a dark place. But no, it's very much alive. I thought that this would be a good pairing with these sempervivums because they don't necessarily have to have full, intense, bright sun. Eventually the cactus will need full sun, but it's looking kind of shabby. It's going to take a little while until I'm ready or confident that I can put this into direct bright sun. I'm planting it up a little bit higher than everything else just because the sempervivums will probably want a little bit more moisture than the cactus will, so that way its roots aren't as exposed to that moisture. It'll dry out up top a little bit faster. I'm gonna come in here and top this off with some gravel and hopefully not bury those sempervivums at the same time. So I actually decided to go ahead and use sand instead, largely just because it's a lot easier to spread in and around the sempervivums. Don't like my succulents to have direct contact with the soil. Not if I can avoid it anyways, just because that way the moisture from the soil doesn't wick back up onto the foliage. It's just another step that makes them a little bit more carefree and easy when you don't have to worry about them rotting so easily. Okay, and I like to finish things off with some hardscape. These like some natural elements in with my succulents and try and wiggle some of the sand out of these guys. Go ahead and poke a few more of these guys down and a little bit closer to the center. Okay, and I'm just gonna grab my hose and water this in and rinse all the junk out of those sempervivums. Well, that was slightly nerve-wracking, getting water that close to the camera, but for the most part, this is done. It needs to be tidied up a little bit, but over the next few weeks, this should start to fill out and should take off just fine. The Echinocereus that's there, that's what I'm the most concerned about, and that is kind of the whole purpose behind this entire planter. As I mentioned, it needs more light. That's why the poor thing's all long and stringy like that. Hopefully, now that I have it potted up in something with some other plants and fresh soil, I'll go ahead and, well, not hopefully, I'm definitely going to be acclimating this now. I'll be keeping it in part sun, morning sun, starting out around 4 to 5 hours and then filtered throughout the rest of the day. And then after about a week, I'll keep bumping it up to more and more and more. I'm mostly just going to be watching out for bleaching. I don't want to see any white or anything in here. I'm going to be watching down here at the base, make sure there's no rot, no browning, nothing like that. Really, the point of this was the cactus, not as much the sempervivums. They're just kind of like a bonus, even though they're kind of a scraggly looking bonus. The whole thing kind of is, but that's sort of the fun of this. I wanted to go ahead and make sure I film this and record it because I like to be able to keep track of the progress and see what happens with it over time, especially in the monthly garden tours. And the sempervivums really shouldn't take very long at all to go ahead and start taking off. Now, this cactus, the Echinocereus rackenbeckii, this guy's hardy all the way down to zone 5. It's a Colorado native. It's a solitary to clumping cylindrical plant that gets 4 to 5 inches high with brilliant purple flowers 4 inches across in June. And it's much more cold hardy than I thought. Considering that it survived this last winter in a tiny little nursery pot, unprotected, I think it's going to do well in here. I will, however, be protecting this. I'll be putting it somewhere sheltered during the winter time where the wind will stay off of it, and mostly that I want to keep it covered so it stays dry. Cactus needs to stay bone dry during the winter time. And I am anxiously awaiting to see the progress and how this guy recovers from being in the dark for so long. As well as anxiously await seeing this whole thing fill out and start to look a lot better. I will be mindful to make sure that the sempervivums don't creep up too close to the base of the cactus, because then moisture can get trapped in there and then you can start to have rot down there at the base, which I really don't want, obviously, because then it would die, potentially. If I don't catch it in time, then it would die. That's what I was trying to say. Yeah, that's all. Quick, simple. Nothing by any means fancy or even beautiful for that matter, but this is just kind of how gardening goes sometimes. You start with the little pieces and you get to watch them grow. And I have that on film now, so I'll be able to see the progress in the future, which I'm really happy about, which was kind of my main point there. Do any of you guys have any experience growing hardy cactus that aren't just like your Opuntias and your Choyas? Let me know. There's some really fun, cool varieties. I planted a different one, another type of, I think it was another type of Echinocereus, or maybe it was, I'm not positive, in one of my cactus planters in my cactus garden not too long ago, and it seems to be doing pretty well in there. Yeah, comment down below. Say hi, let me know what's going on in your garden, what you're doing with your cactus. I have all my social media down below, down there in the roots of the video, in the description. You can follow me and I'll follow you back. A lot of fun seeing everybody's plant pictures and what they have going on in their gardens. And if you liked the video, don't forget to leave it a thumbs up. It helps the video so much and the channel. I really always appreciate it. Thank you so much. And subscribe as well. It's actually down there. Upload multiple times a week. Like I said, comment down below and say hi. I love talking to everybody. All right, that's gonna do it though. And most importantly, as always everybody, keep on growing. Bye bye.